Thank you, Chairman. Secretary, welcome. Unfortunately, very difficult circumstances in the last 48 hours, just incredible on so many levels. And the idea of taking your kids to school and dropping them off, no parent should ever have to wonder whether those kids will be alive when they pick up. So I appreciate the comments by the chairman and by you earlier on. But I want to make a small deviation on safety in terms of guns and certainly violence, and change a little bit to a letter that we have sent to the appropriators and certainly to your office, talking about the Office of School Infrastructure and Sustainability. And I understand that is going to be included in the budget, but I'd like to get a little bit of feedback from you on why, given the experiences we just went through, particularly with COVID and the direct connection with spreading of viruses, in this case, COVID, but in general, and what we can do to upgrade our schools, but have that central clearinghouse. Hospitals obviously know about this, particularly given the nature of what they're dealing in. Schools don't always look at it that way because it's not health and safety all the time the way hospitals are. Can you talk a little bit about bringing the experiences from around the country and certainly from the experts that we're dealing with in Washington?
Certainly, Congressman Norcross, thank you for the opportunity to speak to this. You know, absolutely, I think we have the responsibility at the Department of Education to lift up best practices across the country and to support and be a service agency where we see that there's a great need. I can tell you from experience that, you know, when I was serving as a principal of an elementary school during a massacre that took place about 35, 40 minutes away from where the school I worked in was, we overhauled our protocols, our sign-in procedures, our background checks. We had devices in our office. We had a single point of entry. We had, as I mentioned in the beginning, windows were numbered, and we had ongoing professional development and training for this. So there were some things that we did, and then as things changed, protocols changed, our connections with the police department. So these are all valuable tools that we believe when we're talking about not only responding or preparing for these, but when we're building schools, we need to be aware of what things we should be taking into account to ensure student safety and staff safety.
Almost 10 years ago, when I was serving the New Jersey Senate, there were a series of shootings, mass shootings that all brought it home. And there were those that want to turn our schools into literally encampments that were locked down, that you couldn't go outside. So there's a definite fine line in keeping our children safe, but making sure they're not in a prison, that they still enjoy going to school. And this is where those best practices are going to have to come into play. Not one size fits all when it comes to the infrastructure. But we are a free and great nation, but we can't get locked down. If you could just talk about that sort of dichotomy.
We had to thread the needle, right? Because we want our schools to be happy places where kids are being kids. They're jumping, they're laughing, they're playing recess without fear of you know, having to worry about being fenced in or blocked in or having recess indoors. So we had to thread that balance, and we wanted to make sure that our school concerts had grandparents there and family members celebrating the achievements of the children. Schools are happy places, they're communities. We have to have a balance. And with that said, it's really important for us to broaden the conversation, right? We have to be sensible about legislation that could protect public places, because it's not only schools. It's a week and a half ago, it was a grocery store. It was a church. So we need to be sensible and realize that it's not one solution that's going to take care of all of that. We are a part of it. And we always have to be vigilant and balance that. But it's not just that. We have to be thinking globally about things that over 80% of Americans agree on, certain policies that are being not discussed. When I can't find too many things that 80% of Americans agree on today, yet there's some very sensible legislation that can be passed that we need folks to act on now.
Thank you, and I yield back balance my time, Chairman.